Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Sports Sphere. Thank you so much for joining us. Tole Kakaletrus here alongside Nicholas Lampiris. Niko, welcome to Sports Sphere. And to the listeners, Nicholas Lampiris will be a co-host alongside Stephen Lucas and I, starting effective immediately. Niko, how are you feeling in these early days of the new podcast?
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for giving me the position as co-host. I'm excited. It's a new podcast, new start, and I'm just excited to do what we do best, just have a conversation, have a chat with friends about sports. So that's what I'm most excited about. Let's get straight into it. We'll jump straight into hockey, the NHL, starting off with some managerial decisions. There's three major things that kind of happened. So happened just the other day, Ron Francis stepping down as Seattle Kraken president of hockey operations. We also have the Islanders firing Patrick Waugh, which may have come as a surprise to some people. And then also we're going to talk about Tortorella's hot start with the Golden Knights, as he's the new interim coach, it looks like, for now. So Tole, let's start off with Seattle. What are your thoughts on that?
Francis, who's 63, became the first general manager in Kraken history in 2019, leading the club into its inaugural season, was actually promoted to president of hockey operations last April. Niko, I mean, the winds of change continue to blow throughout front offices across the NHL. Would you say that's a good way to put it?
Definitely. I think we can also kind of tie in Patrick Waugh and the Seattle situation together here. I feel like some teams they're right on the cusp of the playoffs, but now are not making it, are just looking to shift things out of desperation. Like you look here, Seattle 1-7-2 in their last 10 games, 6-game losing streak, and have completely slid out of a playoff spot and a wild card spot, for that matter. And it's also the same with the Islanders, right? They fired Patrick Waugh. I thought the Islanders would have probably made the playoffs going into it. They were playing well, were up and competitive with everyone. But then you look, 3-7 in the last 10 games and a 4-game losing streak, right? Which sees them out of a wild card spot as well. I believe they are 3 points out of a wild card spot with 4 games to go. Seattle's 9 points out of a wild card spot with 5 games left in their season. It could have to do with just desperation and needing these managerial changes, because clearly things aren't working when it comes to the crunch time of the season.
Yeah, you said it best there, Niko. Seattle's faded out of the playoff picture since the trade deadline. Currently have a 32-34-11 record. Francis was actually an executive with the Hurricanes from 2011 to 2018 before his role with the Kraken. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame for his playing career in 2007. And as a player, Francis skated in 23 seasons, spending time with Hartford, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Toronto. He recorded 548 goals and 1,798 points over 1,731 career games, and won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, he was a good player in his time, yeah. It's just desperation for a lot of teams, changing management. Like we talked about Francis, yeah, against Seattle, I think only making the playoffs once since their inaugural season in the NHL. And another disappointing year for them, crashing out of the playoffs when it looks like they had a chance of making it, and now they don't anymore. And I feel like they believe they're a team that can make the playoffs. And last year, 76 points. They did not make the playoffs. And they fell short a few times. The Pacific hasn't been as good as of late, and they still can't make it in. So I feel like they think shaking things up from the top down is something that they need to do. And I guess the same with the Islanders. Firing Patrick Waugh, who I believe is a pretty good coach. Islanders, I think, probably surprised a lot of people, going from one of the worst teams in the league, winning the lottery pick, to get Matthew Schaefer, who's my Calder Trophy favorite right now going to, might not even making the playoffs, because Pittsburgh's been hot, Philadelphia's been hot, and Columbus has been decent as well. It's going to be very difficult for these teams. I guess it's desperation mode, really. So I think that's why they kind of are making these kind of changes. But at least with Vegas, they also are in an easier division, but Tortorella off to a 4-0 start with Vegas. So obviously it looks like it was a good change for the short term, at least. Tortorella's been around the league, a very experienced coach, and obviously has what it takes to breed successful playoff teams. And they were on a 3-game losing streak, and now they're on a 4-game win streak, and actually play Seattle today. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Definitely a good choice short term now for Tortorella getting hired by Vegas, as with their recent successes.
Yeah, a bit of an easy schedule in the first 4 games for Torts, though. Vancouver twice, Edmonton once, Calgary once, but still, not to take anything away from it as well. And also going back to the Islanders for a second, I also really liked bringing in Braden Shen Thought that was a good move too.
So going into another team in the playoff hunt, but looks like they'll probably have a strong chance of making it, Edmonton, with a huge win last night against a division rival in San Jose. Most notably, the best player in the league. People could say the best player ever, Connor McDavid. Tearing it up once again. The guy has been on absolute fire. He's got 133 points this year, and yesterday he just showed everyone that he's the best player in the world with scoring a hat trick in 2 periods actually, and also getting 5 points last night in a 5-2 win. He's just unreal. He's got 47 goals this year, kind of out of nowhere. I was actually looking earlier this morning. I think he had like 1 goal through his first 10 games. Yes, he had his assists and stuff, but if you even give him a goal in each of those, he's leading the league in goals this year if that happens, and he's probably got close to 140 points right now. So what he's doing is ridiculous, and yesterday is just another testament to how good he is. 5 points, he's been on fire, probably going to carry Edmonton into the playoffs as usual. It's important for Edmonton to kind of secure the first place spot, which they definitely helped with yesterday, beating a division rival, but another team fighting for home ice, fighting for first place in their division. Do you think Edmonton looks like they're going to make the playoffs? I think it's safe to say that. They're first place in the Pacific by 2 points ahead of Vegas. Do you think Edmonton has what it takes to make another deep run this year?
I think they're going to win the Pacific Division. I know that they've played 79 games and they're at 90 points when the Golden Knights have only played 78 games at 88 points. The Ducks have also played 78 games with 87 points, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't see the Ducks winning the division. I think it's going to either be the Edmonton Oilers or the Vegas Golden Knights. And you look at the West, it's not as strong as the East this year, with the exception of the 3 top teams in the Central Division, the Avalanche, Stars, and Wild. And that playoff matchup has actually already been confirmed with the Stars and the Wild. But, I mean, Nico, those 3 teams there at the top of the Central Division are the 3 best teams in hockey in all of the NHL this year, in my opinion. Looking at the second wild card in the East, who gets it right now?
Battle between Ottawa and Columbus. They both have 4 games left, both closest to the second spot in the wild card, with Ottawa securing it right now. I think what the standings are telling us is kind of what will end up happening, at least for the East. And then the Jackets or Islanders or Capitals could even make it in as the 3rd spot over Philly. So there's a way they could get in through the division as opposed to the wild card. So it's definitely going to be like it was last year, right? It's going to come down to the wire. And then going into the West, a dark horse for me, I think Anaheim. I really like that team, to be honest. They're 3rd in the division, and they have some really good players. Yes, they're on a 6-game losing streak right now, but I feel like if they would be like a complete underdog, I wouldn't be shocked if they make a little run. Yes, they are an inexperienced team, but they have the likes of Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, Bennett Seneca. Now you have John Carlson on defense for experience. Their goaltending a little shaky, but that is definitely a team for me that's got young stars that maybe could make something happen. I really think they can, but again, it's going to be tough. That's kind of my surprise Cinderella team, but I don't expect much from them. So going now from hockey into the court, the NBA, starting off with the Oklahoma City Thunder, clinching the NBA's best regular season record in the victory over the LA Clippers. This team for me is going to be a dynasty for who knows how long. They have so many picks, so many young guys. Just traded for Jared McCain in the trade deadline. Oklahoma for me is just unbelievable. What are your thoughts on this, Tole?
For the 3rd straight season, the road to the NBA title goes through Oklahoma City. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his defending champs become the 7th team in NBA history to finish with its conference's best regular season record in at least 3 consecutive years. They're just so good, and to be honest, believe it or not, I could see one team in the West beating them in a playoff series. San Antonio Spurs.
That's what I was thinking too, yeah. I would say the Spurs or the Nuggets. You have Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, who's actually a pretty good player as well. Obviously, Wembanyama being the star that he is. And the Spurs have just been great this year, 2nd overall in the league. Then you have Denver. You can't always count them out. Nikola Jokic, arguably the best player in the NBA.
Why don't you talk about a team in the East who's been living in the play-in tournament?
Yeah. Miami, you're right, headed back to the play-in tournament for the 4th consecutive season. This year, it looks like they're projected to play Charlotte, even though Miami's beat them 3 times this year. I really like Charlotte. I really like Con Canepa. I really like LaMelo Ball. I can see Charlotte beating them in the play-in, so that's my prediction on that. In the East, we could also talk about playoffs. I think Detroit, they've been unbelievable, 3rd in the league. Obviously, Boston back, as usual, very good. Tatum actually, coming back now from his this bad injury that he had. I think those two teams there, maybe the Knicks as well, because they're a pretty good team as well.
I still don't necessarily think it was the wisest move for the Cleveland Cavaliers to trade away Garland for James Harden. But with that being said, not only have the Cavs been playing well, they're 8-2 in their last 10 on a 4-game winning streak. Garland's barely played for the Clippers. He's only played a few games. And also, let's face it, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell are a dynamic duo come playoff time. And also a team I did not expect to see in this position, the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, where on earth did this come from? They're 45-35. I know they've lost 2 in a row, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. I hope the Raptors can finish in that 5 seed, just because, to be honest with you, if it's the Knicks, I could see the Raptors getting swept. Meanwhile, if it's the Cavs, I could see the Raptors winning. Shout out as well, a team that I also think is really solid is the Orlando Magic. You look at it with Franz Wagner and Moritz Wagner. Also, I mean, Desmond Bane. Was it still an overpay by the Magic to get Bane? Absolutely. That package, all those first-round picks, was way too much. But nowadays, you have to overpay to bring in a solid player. Points per game, 20.5 this season. And also, how about Paulo Banchero? 22.3 points per game this season. I mean, look out, too, for the Raptors. They cannot afford to rely on what other teams do. They need to get results themselves. From the 5th seed to, I would say, the 8th seed, maybe 9th seed, it's anyone's game to decide those spots. And for the Raptors, I mean, it would be great if they could avoid the play-in tournament.
So now moving into the beautiful game, we're going to talk about the Champions League first leg of the quarterfinal knockouts. Let's start in Spain with German giants Bayern Munich beating Real Madrid 2-1 at the Santiago Bernabeu, giving themselves a comfortable enough lead going back to the Allianz Arena. Harry Kane, and for me, the star of the show, Michael Olise, helping the team get it done. 2-1 against Real Madrid. It was a good game.
Finally, Bayern Munich defeat Real Madrid after 14 years. Vincent Kompany obviously got the Bavarians ready and beating Los Blancos at the Santiago Bernabeu. I mean, big win for them. You look at the stats on paper, Real Madrid outchanced Bayern Munich, but to be honest, after watching the game, Bayern should have scored a couple more goals. Like Gnabry squandered a golden opportunity for Bayern. Upamecano, who also missed from close range, but let's face it, Niko. These are the two biggest sides in Europe this season, maybe alongside PSG. This could have been a semi-final at the very least, if not a final. I mean, it's a shame for the tournament that one of these two teams are going to be going home. But I know there was obviously the coaching change with Xavi Alonso now with Arbeloa. But I don't think this Real Madrid side is as strong as teams we've seen, even the tail end of the Ancelotti era.
Yeah, like for me, I think Bayern Munich will advance, to be honest. And also talking about man of the match, Manuel Neuer, 40 years old, aging like fine wine, showing he can still do it. Made 9 saves in this game, like unbelievable. It was a pretty even game, but like the fact that even Lunin, who's honestly a respectable backup, made 5 saves. Like, both unbelievable performance from their goalkeeper. And then one is talk about, before we move on to the other game, like Michael Olise, what a player. He was just skinning Carreras all game. He's a breath of fresh air, honestly, willing to be direct at all times, always turning and facing the play. His shoulders are very rarely faced negatively where he's looking to go back or do anything. He could cut in, cut out. He's unbelievable. And Harry Kane scoring again. Probably the best striker in the world right now. He's just so good as well. Unbelievable, honestly. I think Bayern, PSG are the heavy favorites to win the Champions League. I just think they're too good. Even though Real Madrid had a decent game, I think Bayern Munich will have what it takes to steal this one and take it home and protect this lead. Mbappe did score, had a great cross from Alexander-Arnold, but weren't clinical enough. And yeah, I think Bayern Munich has what it takes. I was just in awe of how good they were, how good Neuer was, how good Olise was. Like they're a solid, well-oiled machine.
Last thing I'll say on this matchup is Alphonso Davies may have to play in the second leg. Stanisic had a hard time against Vinny. So putting Konrad Leimer there could make the difference, but there needs to be a heavy rotation against St. Pauli if Bayern Munich are going to make it through this tie.
I'm sure they'll do that. The league they have basically wrapped up. Like they're almost 10 points ahead. I'm sure they will play a second team against a team like St. Pauli, who's a relegation battling team right now. But I guess moving on from two big countries to another, England, talking about Arsenal doing what they do best, scraping away a 1-0 win like they always do, it seems like. Kai Havertz scoring in injury time to beat our Sporting Lisbon 1-0 away from home. Arsenal, interesting team right now. I don't think they win the Champions League, but it's definitely a big win for them. A character comeback after losing to City in the Carabao Cup and then losing to Southampton, a championship side in the FA Cup. It's honestly embarrassing.
I think they'll probably hold on and win the
They
Prem.
will. They'll go to the Emirates, park the bus. Typical Arsenal. Pep Guardiola has a very strong chance of winning this FA Cup. He'll still end this season, hopefully, with more trophies than Arteta in his best season, which would be pretty funny. But focusing more on the game, going to the Emirates with any sort of lead for Arsenal is ideally what they wanted. And it looks like they're going to have a cakewalk to the final again, which honestly makes me sick, to be honest, that they're going to have this potentially easy route to the final. I see them making the semifinals. They're going to be comfortable against Sporting at home. I would be surprised if they don't hold on, but it would also be Arsenal fashion to not hold on either.
Havertz settled a tight game of a few chances in Lisbon, which is not an easy place to play. And I'll throw out a stat about that in a second. By combining with fellow substitute Gabriel Martinelli, the German controlled the ball in the box and then side-footed into the net to hand Sporting its first loss at home since August.
But going on to the games from yesterday, let's start off with Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, surprising 2-0 win away at the Camp Nou. Obviously, Kubarsi's red card did impact that a lot. I think this tie, it's going to be really hard for Barcelona to come back and score 3 against a team that's just going to park the bus at home. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I knew when that red card happened that Barca was screwed. And then right after that, there's the goal, which, by the way, was probably one of the nicest free kicks I've seen in a long time. Kubarsi is a liability in knockout stage games. Look at it here. Straight red. Last man foul on Simeone. He's just too reckless. Once is a mistake. Twice or more is an error. It's better to be a goal down than a man down.
Yeah, that's true. But I think next week, Atletico Madrid are probably going to play their typical Simeone style sit back, which could maybe benefit Barcelona in a way because that pressure, if they get a goal in the first half, that game's wide open. But yeah, we'll see what happens in that second leg. Let's move into the last Champions League game. PSG beating Liverpool at the Parc des Princes 2-0. Not a surprise for me. Liverpool is absolutely horrific. It's actually insane how bad they are compared to last year. More so Mohamed Salah, that decline. I'm just talking about Liverpool as a general now. When they played City and City knocked them out of the FA Cup 4-0, they just slapped them. Salah missed the penalty. They just looked like they gave up, to be honest. It's going to be a beatdown in the Anfield as well. PSG, another favorite for me to win the Champions League again. They're just way too good. Too many guys in Liverpool past their prime. The new big signings. Maybe I'll be fair. New season, haven't had enough time to gel. You could kind of tell it might not be going to plan. Ekatike's promising. Wirtz doesn't look good. Obviously, Isak broke his leg. Salah wasn't even used yesterday, actually, as a sub too. I would be shocked if Slot is Liverpool's coach next year because there is no way this is the man for the job. Looking at the better team here, PSG, that front three, Dembele, Desiree Doué, and Kavicha, wow, they're unbelievable. I've seen them enough to know they're just stars. And Jeremy Frimpong and Kirkez or Konate, whoever's there, they're not stopping these guys. And for PSG, 18 shots, 6 on goal. Liverpool, 26% possession, didn't even register a shot on goal. It's just going to be the same next leg, in my opinion. Liverpool will probably give more of a fight at Anfield. At the end of the day, I think it's just going to be more of the same. I would be really surprised if Liverpool pull this back. They have the 2 best fullbacks in the world. That midfield with Vitinha and Joao Neves and Zaire Emery is just unbelievable. The team is just so good all around. Just looking at the bracket quickly, so it would be PSG versus Real Madrid or Bayern, and then it'll be Atleti or Barca versus Sporting or Arsenal. So assuming Bayern or PSG make it to the final, I think one of those teams just slaps Arsenal or anyone for that matter. They're just that good.
Niko, quick question, rapid fire. How did you enjoy your first episode on Sportsphere as a co-host?
I enjoyed it a lot. It was really good. I'm looking forward to more episodes.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.